So this is going to be a quick one. However, there's always something we can learn from these situations. I made a video previously about Hamza. You can scroll down, go and find it, about how what has just happened now, Hamza leaving the YouTube space, all of this commotion about where's Hamza going, what's going to happen to Hamza, what's going to happen to self-improvement. I literally predicted this to happen. I made a video about it and I said, yeah, this is exactly what's going to happen. Hamza's going to have some sort of revelation where he realizes, I need to take a step back from everything and focus on myself and realign my values as a man. We could all see, and again, in the previous video, I mentioned how it was clear that Hamza was kind of motivated by ego rather than pride. He was motivated by, money, success, materialistic things, rather than who he used to be, which is quite humble and caring individual. That's how he came across on the camera anyway, right? I don't know him personally, but he used to speak to the camera in a way as if it was your big brother that you never had, the guy that was just trying to help everyone. And now he speaks to the camera, well, he did anyway before he left, in a kind of arrogant, egotistical, patronizing way, as if he was better than the person he was speaking to. Okay, and we saw this kind of decline happen gradually over time. He started being motivated by ego, and materialistic things, and how he was perceived by others, rather than his own pride and the values that he set for himself as a man. He got back on Instagram again, he got back on Twitter, he started going against the things that he set for himself as a man. And when you start going against your values like that, you'll find that it becomes a mindfuck. Life becomes a mindfuck, and the actions that you start doing on a day-to-day basis, they don't feel internally. It's like you have this intuition as if what I'm doing right now is the right decision, it's right for me as a man. He was going against all of that. Okay, now what I want to say is there's two things we can learn from this. Is number one is when you set yourself values for yourself. For example, I don't use social media. This is me personally, right? I don't use social media, I don't drink, I don't do drugs, I don't watch porn or masturbate. These are some values, these are some things that I set in stone for myself, which I do not do. And I think it's important for you as a young man to create, in a sense, your own religion, your things that you do, rules that you set for yourself. I don't do these things, I do this. The values that you set for yourself as a man, create them. They can be whatever you want them to be. Don't follow anybody else. Create your own values, create your own religion, in a sense, in the way that, I'm going to do these things and I'm not going to do these things. Because if you're just blindly going with the flow and doing what you feel like, you're never going to get anywhere in life as a man, especially, and I think Hamza kind of went off track a little bit in terms of the values that he set for himself. I don't use social media, guys, and then he's back on Instagram. You know what I mean? It's like, it's clear to me what he was doing and what he was being motivated by, and that's why I think now, excuse me, he's had that realization of like, okay, I need to take a step back, focus on myself, get away from the whole internet thing and realign my values. And that's exactly what he's done. So fair play to him. At least he's realized it, but I literally predicted it, didn't I? Secondly, so obviously number one, what we can take from this whole situation is to set yourself some values as a young man. Set yourself values and rules that you live by, and just resist the temptations of the modern world and stay true to those values. Don't sacrifice them, don't go against them, don't be peer pressured to go against your values, and understand that being motivated by what makes you feel proud rather than what makes you perceived as a better person in society, or as rather than ego, let's say, being motivated by what makes you feel proud as a man when you look in the mirror is much more beneficial, much more fulfilling than being motivated by things that you think other people would think highly of you. Does that make sense? So rather than, for example, if I offered you a cigarette, okay, just a random example off the top of my head, if you say to yourself, I'm the kind of man that doesn't smoke, I just don't smoke cigarettes, which I don't personally, I don't smoke. Okay, but then I'm in a social environment, I'm on a night out or whatever, and somebody offers me a cigarette. They peer pressure me to give me a cigarette. They go, go on, don't be a pussy, don't be a pussy. Take the cigarette, bro, take the cigarette, don't be a pussy. If you then take the cigarette and go against your values, that is you being motivated by your ego. Okay, you're being motivated by what other people will think of you if you do not do that thing. That's you being motivated by your ego. Okay, now ego can be a good motivator in some situations, but you've got to be very mindful of how you're using it. If you're going against something that you've set for yourself, so for example, I don't smoke, so if I go and smoke a cigarette because I'm being peer pressured to smoke a cigarette, then naturally I'm not going to feel proud of myself. I'm going to go against the values that I set for myself, which is going to leave me feeling unfulfilled, ashamed, guilty, etc., etc. So I think that's what Hamza started doing. He started going against the values that he set for himself. I don't use social media, I'm not materialistic, and he started going against all that. Now I understand we're constantly in a state of evolution as human beings. We're constantly learning, we're constantly growing, we're constantly, opening our minds to different ways of living, and that's fine. It's completely fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But when you do that, you'll go through a period of you have to just remember what makes me feel proud as a man. It's a good bit of advice to take away from this is what makes me feel proud. What actions do I do on a day-to-day basis that make me feel proud of myself? You know, and make sure you stick to them, make sure you live by them, because otherwise what's the point? If you're walking around feeling ashamed, feeling guilty, then you're not really fulfilling your true potential as a man. So that's number one. Set some values, stay true to them, and do what makes you feel proud rather than what you think others will think highly of you for doing. Do you understand? Number two is to just not care. I see a lot of guys in the comments, oh, what am I going to do without Hamza? What am I going to do? You are your own man, and I've spoken about this previously before. In order for you to become an alpha male or a man or whatever, your own man, a confident man that looks in the mirror and he knows, yeah, I can attack life and I can handle it without anyone's help. I don't need anyone's guidance. I don't need anyone's assistance. Although it is nice to have that. I'm not saying you should, you know, close yourself off to help or guidance or advice. But to be a self-sufficient individual that can act with his intuition and he knows that his decisions that he takes are the best ones for him, that is very, very powerful. You know, rather than walking through life thinking, what would Andrew Tate do? What would Hamza do? What would I do in this current situation? That's how you got to see it. You know, so Hamza's leaving. Oh, wow, okay, it's a shock. I've learned a lot from the guy. I really have. And he's inspired me to start my channel. You know, I'd be lying if I said I did it all by myself. He inspired me to take that action, to take that leap. So Hamza's been a big impact on my life. But if I walk through the world thinking, well, what am I going to do without Hamza? What am I going to do without his daily advice? Then I'm just going to be a follower forever. And you don't want to be that. You want to be a leader. You want to be your own man. Okay, so number two is to look at the world with a present and open mindset, okay, and attack situations when they present themselves. Don't think to yourself, what would Hamza do? What would I do in this situation? What do I think is the best approach to take? Because if you genuinely believe, yeah, this is the best approach I can take, even if you fail, at least when you look back on that situation, you can say to yourself, yeah, but at the time, I thought that was the best approach. I was just acting with the current knowledge that I had, and I was acting in the most optimal way possible. That's all you can do. Act in the most optimal way possible. Don't rely on other people to set your life out for you. You have to do that yourself. You know, set your life out, set your values out, create your own religion in a sense. I'll make a video speaking in depth about that topic, which is quite interesting. Literally take a pen and paper and write down the values that you want to set for yourself. Right, I don't drink, I don't watch porn. So every time you get the temptation to do these things, you know that if you do them, you will be just literally, you're just, what's the word I'm looking for? You're kind of de-escalating your momentum. You're just going back to what you were previously, okay? You're taking a step back from the development that you've currently gone through by doing those actions of drinking, watching porn, because you've set yourself those values. If you then go and do those things and you go against the values that you've set for yourself, then naturally you're just degressing rather than progressing, okay? And you're not going to feel proud. You're not going to feel like a confident, strong, you know, independent individual. So you have to go out there and just attack the world, learn from your own mistakes, learn from your own failures, and don't rely on other people to hold your hand through life. And that goes for anyone, Andrew Tate, Tristan Tate, Hamza, whoever it is, me. Don't rely on anyone else to do those things for you. You have to learn from us, of course. Be open-minded and take our advice and learn from us and learn from our experiences that we've had to go through, you know, trials and tribulations to learn. However, don't base your entire life and your entire worldview on somebody else's outlook. You have to create that yourself, okay? So hopefully you can take something from this video. I wish Hamza the best in whatever it is he chooses to do. I did predict that something like this would happen. You know, he started getting on Instagram again, and I was thinking to myself, you know what, I went through the exact same thing as you guys probably know. Well, tempted to go back on Instagram, tempted to get all the followers and tempted to grow the business and all this kind of stuff and be motivated by my ego rather than my pride. It really leads you down a hole of negativity. So I just hope Hamza can drag himself out of that and realize what he's done, and realign his values as a man, and, you know, come back 10 times stronger. So with that being said, I wish the best for you all. Take care of yourselves, stay positive, look after yourselves, take something from this, take this as you will. And the main message I want you guys to remember is, you don't need Hamza. You don't need anybody. You don't need me. You don't need Hamza. You don't need Andrew Tate. You don't need Tristan. You don't need nobody. You literally have everything you need as a human being to attack the world and to learn and to grow and to evolve into the man that you want to be. So just remember that as you're going forward. Oh, Hamza's gone, I'm not going to get any more daily advice. Crack on. You shouldn't care so much in that sense. I care in a way of like, oh, I wish him the best. Yeah, great. I hope, you know, I hope he's all right and all that kind of stuff. But other than that, for me personally, it doesn't have an effect on my life. So I don't give it energy, I don't give it time and attention. I have my own things to work out, my own things to do. And you should be the same. Don't be so reliant on somebody as if they're some sort of God. You know, that's why I never said to myself, I'm on self-improvement, or I'm on NoFap, or I'm in Hamza's cult. Like, I don't do that. I am my own individual, and I'll decide the life that I want to do. When I say I'm not on NoFap or self-improvement, by the way, it doesn't mean that I watch porn or masturbate. I literally say to myself, I don't watch porn and I don't masturbate. I don't say to myself, oh, I'm on NoFap. or I'm on self-improvement, because you're then tying yourself, you're labeling yourself and categorizing yourself into a box. I'm just an open-minded, free individual, and I'll attack life in the most positive way I see fit. You know, that's the kind of the way I see it. So with that being said, the coaching is in the description below if you're interested in learning from me personally. But doesn't mean that you need to hold my hand through life. It doesn't mean that you need to follow anybody. Okay, you can learn from people, you can learn from my coaching, which is down below, and you can drag yourself from the current position that you're in now, learn from the mistakes that I've made, straight to the top. Yeah, and even with that being said, again, it's not a followership. It's not, oh, I'm gonna follow you, Luke, and learn and, you know, do life the way you do life. I'm simply giving you an outside perspective on your current problems, and we're working together as a team to overcome that obstacle. That's all that's happening there. Okay, and that being said, get some daylight, get some sunlight today. It's absolutely beautiful. Get your vitamin D, get outside, get off the fucking internet. As soon as you've watched this video, turn your phone off, straight off the internet, go outside. Yeah, look after yourselves. You are your own self-sufficient individuals. You don't need anyone else to hold your hand through life. Get out there and make it happen. Boom.